ought I the asshole for letting my neighbor's cow wander into the witch's grove instead of bringing it back? I live in a small farming village on the edge of Darkwood. There is an unspoken rule in the village. Don't go near the witch's grove and keep your livestock well away from it. Old tales say that anyone who disrupts the witch will have a curse upon them and their family for generations. My neighbor, Joran, has never been very good at keeping his animals fenced in. His cow, Bessie, constantly breaks free and roams wherever she pleases, eating other people's crops. I've told Joran countless times to repair his fence, but he just shrugs it off. The other morning, I saw Bessie wandering around the edge of Darkwood. I had chores to do and no time to be chasing someone else's livestock, so I let her go. By midday, word spread that the cow had wandered into the witch's grove. Joran's furious, claiming I should have grabbed her before she went too far. He says I've doomed his entire family and it's my fault if the witch curses him. But here's the thing, I warned him. For months, I've told him to fix that fence, and it's not my responsibility to keep an eye on his animals. I didn't have time to deal with his cow. Now half the village is whispering that I'm heartless and should have helped. Am I the asshole? Not the a-hole. It's Yori's fault for not taking care of his livestock. If he didn't want his cow cursed, he should have fixed that fence.
Honestly, if Jorans gets cursed, maybe it'll teach him to be more responsible. You warned him. He didn't listen. His problem.
I gave up my magic to be normal, and I'm not sure it was worth it. I was once a promising mage, my talent unmatched in our village. Spells flowed from my fingertips like water, and elders sang my praises. But magic came with a price, responsibilities, expectations, and danger. I watched as my friends turned into power-hungry tyrants, and I want no part of it. So I made a choice. I gave it up. I severed the bond that connected me to the arcane arts and became just another face in the crowd. But now I work in the fields and toil in the sun. I feel something deep inside of me yearning to break free. I thought being normal would bring me peace, but it just feels like a cage. I'm haunted by dreams of magic, by whispers of power I can no longer grasp. I traded my gifts for a quiet life, but at what cost? I wonder if I'll ever find true happiness again.
You didn't just give up magic, you gave up yourself. You're not some random farmhand, you're a mage. I get that you wanted a simpler life, but denying who you are would always leave you feeling complete. Maybe you can find a balance between your powers and your peace.
And my spell tome? And my axe? And my bow? Am I the asshole for placing an enchanted lock on my daughter's chamber to keep my wife's kin out? My wife's brother, Sir Ulrich, lost his estate due to poor management and sought refuge in a keep with his two daughters, the Lady Edwin and Lady Rowena. They've been staying with us for over 6 moons now. I have a daughter, Lady Bryn, who is 16 summers. And though she and her cousins are not especially close, they were at least civil at first. However, Elwyn and Rowena have no respect for Bryn's personal space. They're constantly entering her chambers uninvited, taking her enchanted tomes, dresses woven with rare silk, and even her alchemical ingredients, leaving a trail of misused and broken items behind. I told my wife and Sir Ulrich to speak to the girls about this, but both brushed it off, saying it was common for young noblewomen to share amongst each other. I disagreed, but let it pass, until recently. Lady Bryn had saved for moons to acquire an extremely rare crystal for her studies in the magical arts. She'd spent days preparing the ritual, and the moment she stepped away, Lady Elwyn sneaked in and shattered the crystal in an attempt to use it herself, without any knowledge on its purpose. Bryn was heartbroken, and I'd had enough.
I went to the village mage and had him craft an enchanted lock for her chamber door, one that none but Bryn could open. Sir Ulrich was livid when he found out, calling me dishonourable for keeping his daughters from bonding with their cousin. He said I was treating them like criminals. My wife too was upset and demanded I remove the lock, accusing me of alienating her family. I told her plainly that the lock remains until Sir Ulrich and his daughters find their own dwelling. Now both my wife and her brother have been giving me the silent treatment, and I'm left wondering if I've gone too far.
Not the a-hole. They may be family, but that doesn't give them the right to disrespect your daughter's personal space. Enchanted or not, a locked door is necessary if they can't learn basic manners.
Sir Ulrich's daughters sound spoiled and entitled. If they can't handle a little boundary, then perhaps they should seek out lessons in humility instead of potions.
Agreed. Bryn deserves her privacy. It's not about bonding at this point, it's about theft and disrespect. Sir Ulrich can take his complaints back to his failed estate.
My lord gave me a quest. Now my life's in shambles. Help! Original post by I'm Just a Peasant. So, I'm a simple peasant, right? I live in a small village of Mudbottom, where nothing exciting ever happens. We farm, we trade, and occasionally we gossip about the Duke's nephew who once tried to joust a goose. It didn't end well. Anyways, last week, out of nowhere, Lord Thistleblossom, our local noble, summoned me to his manor. He said, "Peasant, I have a quest for you! Travel to the Forbidden Forest, retrieve the golden turnip, and I shall reward you handsomely." Now, I'm no adventurer. I can barely find my way to the outhouse at night without tripping over the chickens. But Lord Fizzleblossom promised me 2 gold pieces if I brought back this turnip. 2! I've never seen that much money in my life, so of course I said yes. Well, long story short, I've been lost in the forest for days. I'm covered in what I hope is mud. I'm pretty sure I accidentally ate a cursed mushroom, and I've had a talking squirrel follow me around, giving advice how to properly roll a tree. What do I do? Should I give up? Go back and tell the Lord I failed? Or just keep pushing through? TLDR took a dumb quest from my lord for a golden turnip. Now I'm stuck in the Forbidden Forest with a sassy squirrel and no idea what I'm doing.
Honestly, the square might be the best bet. Ask him if he knows where the golden turnip is. If he starts talking about tree romance, ignore him.
I expect my golden turnip, peasant. You've already signed the quest contract, and failure will result in you being exiled or worse. Winky face?
Forbidden Forest, cursed mushrooms. But you need a mage, and I know a guy. Dear me.
Updates 1 to 2 months ago.
So it's been a wild couple of weeks. I know it's been a while since I updated, but things escalated. First of all, the squirrel. His name is Cedric. By the way, turns out he's actually a cursed knight. He got turned into a squirrel after losing a bet with a witch. Don't ask, it was a cartwheel contest and too much mead. He promised to help me to find the golden turnip if I agreed to help break his curse. I figured, why not? I mean, what could go wrong, right? Well, we did find the golden turnip. It was growing in the middle of a swamp, guarded by a grumpy retired dragon named Trevor. Cedric tried to negotiate it with him, but Trevor kept complaining about his aching back, and now
Kids these days have no respect for the elderly.
eventually I offered him my grandmother's famous pumpkin recipe in exchange for the turnip. Trevor agreed, but here's the twist. I don't have a grandmother. I made it up. Now I have to figure out how to bake a pie for a dragon, or else he'll hunt me down and incinerate me with a fiery breath of his ancestors. His words, not mine. Was Cedric's curse? Turns out I have to perform an elaborate squirrel-themed interpret dance at the next of the full moon to break it. I'm not kidding. TLDR. Found a golden turnip, made a deal with the dragon. Now I have to bake a pie and do a squirrel dance. Help!
Okay, I know this sounds insane,
but I have a killer pumpkin pie recipe. Check your DMs.
The pie better be good, peasant. My patience is thin, and my appetite is vast.
Square dance, you got us, bro. Shadow your inner rodents.
you're still taking too long. Hurry up, peasant. I'll replace you with someone competent.
Update 2. 1 month ago.
Alright folks, things have reached a level of absurdity that I wasn't even prepared for. So I tried baking the pumpkin pie for Trevor. I used the recipe Baking for Dragons sent me. Thank you, by the way. But apparently, I'm a terrible baker. The pie came out looking more like a lump of charcoal with pastry bits glued to it. I brought it to Trevor, hoping his old dragon taste buds wouldn't notice. But the second I bit into it, he burst into flames. Like, not in an angry way, but in a natural way. Turns out dragons are highly allergic to cinnamon, and I almost killed him. He was wheezing and coughing, but then he said,
No one has tried to poison me in centuries. I'm impressed.
and then he let me take the golden turnip anyway. Because apparently near-death experiences give him a sense of nostalgia for his wilder youth. Okay, now on to Cedric's curse-breaking dance. I spent hours practicing my squirrel dance moves. When the time finally came, I went all out, twirling, scampering, even shittering like a squirrel. It was majestic. But halfway through, this group of knights on patrol stumbled in upon me. Picture this. A peasant dancing like a rabid squirrel in the middle of the forest under a full moon. They thought I'd gone mad, and before I could explain, they tackled me and threw me in a cell for disturbing the peace. Now Cedric is still a squirrel. I'm in jail, and Lord Fizzleblossom sent a letter saying I've got 3 days to deliver the turnip or he's sending the guards after me. TLDR, almost killed a dragon with pie, still stuck with Squirrel Knight. I'm going to jail! SOS!
I can't believe I'm saying this.
But maybe just hand over the turnip and get out of this mess. Forget the squirrel.
As one of the knights who tackled you, I apologize. We didn't know you were trying to break a curse. Also, your dance moves were questionable.
Oh, you were so close. You need to do the dance again. Don't give up.
You got 48 hours, peasant. Tick-tock.
Final update 2 weeks ago.
Well, folks, this is it. The dramatic conclusion to the Golden Turnip saga. After spending 2 days in the dingy jail, Cedric somehow managed to sneak in and gnaw through the bars to free me. That's right, a squirrel busted me out of jail. He's officially the most useful companion I've ever had. With only hours left before Lord Thimbleblossom's deadline, I sprinted back to the manor. Golden turnip in hand, Cedric on my shoulder. When I arrived, I was exhausted, covered in squirrel fur, and mildly traumatized by the whole experience. Lord Thimbleblossom looked me over, then grabbed the golden turnip and said, "Finally, I needed this for my soup." Soup! All of this, dragons, pie, interpretive dance, squirrel dancing, for soup? I stood there, flabbergasted, while he handed me my 2 gold pieces like it was the most casual transaction in the world. I tried to ask him why he didn't just send one of his knights, but he cut me off and said, "Peasants' quests build character." Now about Cedric's curse. After returning the turnip, I decided to give the squirrel dance the last shot. This time we found a quiet spot away from any patrolling knights. I nailed the dance, twirling, scampering, even dramatic trail flick. And guess what? It worked! Cedric transformed back into a knight, armor and all, though he was still about 3 feet tall. Turns out I broke the curse halfway. Now he's stuck at squirrel height, but at least he's human again. We're both done with quest for a while. I've decided to retire from adventuring and take up baking, without cinnamon. As for Cedric, he's using his short stature to become a champion in underground gnome wrestling tournaments. It's surprisingly lucrative. TLDR, delivered the golden turnip for soup, broke Cedric's curse, kind of, and we're both moving on with our lives. Never taking on another quest again.